Good morning, guys. Travis Coleman, Southern Indiana agronomist for Beck's Hybrids. Looks like a favorable forecast to get corn and soybeans planted. But I want to keep our eyes looking forward, and ultimately I'm standing here in Monroe County and thinking about that Sidedress application. This corn here is at or near V3 and quickly approaching V4, and I think it's important to think about that Sidedress application around this time frame. So important that we've deemed side-dressing corn one of our PFR proven success strategies. That's one of 5 things that lead to the highest yield year in and year out. And so there's a lot of benefits to side dressing corn. One of those for me is the fact that we know nitrogen is leachable through the soil profile because it is negatively charged. So having an actively growing crop out there allows us to reduce that risk of leachability. Side dressing corn at V3 is important to me because I see less mechanical damage, right? We know that growing point's there in the ground, so making those turns on the end row causes less damage and ultimately less implications on yield on the backside. The last piece about side dressing V3 corn is the fact that we have some data here from 2022 where we learned that in a hot, dry June and we delay our nitrogen applications, there are less chances for rainfall events to get that nitrogen incorporated into the ground, into that root zone, and ultimately up into that plant where it is needed through that rapid growth phase and into the reproduction cycle. So making those applications early around this V3 time frame is very important. So we're making that side dress application. What additional products can we add to the tank as we go through the field? Well, one of those things that's really important to me is adding sulfur. We've talked a lot about sulfur, but I'll remind you that it's one of those micronutrients that we used to get in abundance from the environment. We've got cleaner air today than we did in years in the past, so we have less availability of that product. And so we now have to substitute sulfur into our growing crops of corn and soybeans. So putting sulfur into the tank with our nitrogen application is a great time to get that sulfur there. Very similar uptake curve to nitrogen and also its leachability proponents. So having an actively growing crop is important when we make that sulfur application. One interesting thing I'll add as being a part of Beck's is that we have a very broad genetic diversity, right? We know we have multiple suppliers of genetics, and through testing in PFR and our regional product specialists, we know the differences from hybrid A or B have potential nitrogen need differences or sulfur need differences. So it's a great time to have a conversation with your dealer or your seed advisor or myself to plan those nitrogen and sulfur applications depending on the hybrids that you plant. So have a great week finishing up corn. Be safe, be careful. If you have any questions or concerns, reach out. Have a great day. Thanks.